Hello my soccer universe, to the review of round 25 in Serie A. I have decided to go with Milan now for the remaining videos for my horizontal shoots, because Milan is my favorite team. I do it also for the Austrian Bundesliga video where I wear my other favorite team. And then during the review segment I actually will switch it around and you can admire all the nice Serie A shirts that I have hanging back there. This was a Serie A round that for me was very reflective of the rather poor performances by Italian teams in Europe. And just to underline how poor it is, mid-January, Serie A had a 75% chance and had a big lead over La Liga to get this 5th spot for the Champions League. And yes, it's not a favorable thing because Italy has 8 teams in Europe, so any win is divided by 8, where Spain had only 7. So it's divided by 7, so slight advantage for Spain as well. Still, after the last round, La Liga has overtaken Serie A, and it's now less than a coin flip for Serie A to get this win. You need to get all the teams through. Should not be impossible. However, I would say some of them are in danger of not making it, and none more so than Milan. And I gotta say, the lackluster performance against Verona, yes, you did not give up any chances, you have a clean sheet, but this is a team that you just have to shoot out of the stadium and not just a measly 1-0 win with a really pretty goal in there as well. And pretty goals were a theme of the Serie A round. The status of the poor performance of Italian teams is also a little bit underlined by the current state of the title race. I mean, Napoli had huge chance to distance themselves big from Inter. Last week they did not win at home, this week they did not win, and Inter have the chance to overtake Napoli again after having a 4-point deficit, and they mess it up against Juventus. A Juventus team that was the one real bright point of this round, playing brilliant stuff, especially in the second half. And that winning goal assisted by Colomuani, boo! Another really great goal there as well. I have a feeling that Juventus, despite everyone being down on them because they had such poor performances, they still got the wins. And now if they play also well, it might also be only a flash in the pan. So we have to see how it will pan out. I also want to do the review structure for this video slightly differently. I want to go now through the 3 highlight games, meaning the 2 big games plus the Milan game, because I always will have a little bit more to say about Milan. And then we summarize the rest of the round. Well, Lazio was the expected tough test for Napoli, and Napoli are lucky to get out of Rome with a 2-2 draw. Again, they concede late, as they did against Roma a couple of weeks ago, but this time it was all that was deserved because Lazio largely outplayed Napoli. Napoli were lucky, really lucky, to have the 2-1 lead. Isaksen opened the scoring in the 6th minute with a beautiful wide-range shot, and Isaksen was more or less the man of the match for me. However, Napoli then managed to equalize just a few minutes later when McTominay intercepts a ball, goes to Lukaku over to Raspadore, 1-1 in the 13th minute. However, Lazio probably should have taken the lead. I think Zaccagni had a pretty good chance. Isaksen again, especially then in the second half. Isaksen had a glorious chance that he put wide. Then comes the most comical goal that you will see this season. That this goes in might actually point you to the fact that Napoli are on the lucky stars this year, and I don't really believe in that stuff either. But Zombo Inguisua runs on the right side, plays it over to Raspadori, who wants to cut it back, and then it bounces off one Lazio defender on the back of another one who's lying on the floor, onto Marušić, who wants to kind of clear it but doesn't get his ball on it, and it loops into the net. What a crazy goal. Lazio had an immediate answer with Zaccagni, scissor kicking it into the net. However, he was just by a fraction offside. Would have been one of those beautiful goals after the Isaksen goal, the Zaccagni goal. But they then get the equalizer, Zaccagni assisting Bouladia in the 87th minute to get the deserved point for Lazio. Lazio really impressive overall. I'm not so sure about Napoli. His Napoli side looks rather flat, especially since Kvara is gone, Neres is out as well. So yeah, it looks slow, sluggish, and there are not many options on the bench. Have they missed the beat here in the winter window? Man, I cannot tell you how much the Milan game against Verona annoyed the heck out of me. Because, this was the one game where you really think you have to break them down. This is one of the worst defenses in Serie A, and you only win barely by a goal. And it reminded me so much of the Parma game, where I really thought, yeah, we might go down on one of the few counterattacks that Verona had. None of them ever really was dangerous. So it was all about breaking them down and maybe getting the 3 points this way. Unfortunately, one of the best goals, and this was the silver lining, one of the best goals that Milan have scored this season. They actually managed to get that win, but it was again the same thing. Slow, you have hard time breaking the opponent down, and all the opponents know that. Meanwhile, probably didn't help that Conceição was saving a whole lot of players for the return leg against Feyenoord. Yeah, I do understand that. But the chances were few and far in between. It was only then, once Leao and Alex Jimenez came on, that you felt the pressure is rising, and the pressure was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But I was really annoyed with the choices that were made in the attack. Well, there was one great choice when there was a rainbow flick by Alex Jimenez in the 75th minute to Leao. Goalie comes out and he just taps it over. And Santi Jimenez gets his second goal for Milan, heading into the empty net. This was brilliantly played. This was really one of the finest goals that we've scored so far. But yeah, overall, I was then hoping that the floodgates will open and you score 2, 3 or whatever. No, nothing like that. And this is what really, really got me annoyed. What also annoyed me is that it was 1-0. There was one chance where Leao is running on the left side down to the corner flag instead of going on to goal. I mean, this is Verona. Score a second goal. When they did it the second time in stoppage time, they actually tried to go for a goal. However, the chance went begging. And yeah, I also thought that Musa had one really good shot towards goal, but that encouraged him so much that he was then shooting all kinds of ways, and it's a mess. It is a mess. It tells you that Conceição really didn't have time to actually work with his team, and so yeah. Also, those fourth jerseys, still not a fan of those. However, I have to say, on the field, they looked a whole lot better than in those promo pictures. I think the pants combination that's mostly black, that actually makes it work. Also, there's a shine. The weirdest thing, though, is the quotation marks around the names. I mean, you are Leao. That makes no sense whatsoever. In the big Derby d'Italia on Sunday evening, Inter continued their winless streak against the big-name teams, losing to Juventus 1-0. And in the end, it was even deservedly so. Juve put in, especially in the second half, their best performance of the season. This is not the Juve that we've seen all along. We always said that Juventus get the results, but they're looking absolutely awful, and it's a miracle that they're up there. But for me, this tells me a little bit about their spirit as well. First half, though, Inter should have taken the lead. Inter were the better team. There were chances by Lautaro, Dumfries, and so on in there. There was also one bicycle kick by Taremi that results in another chance for Lautaro, but they had misfiring. I don't think that Inter had a regular shot on target. And yes, there were also couple of chances for Juventus in that. The game was really open, but it was more ping-pong than technical class, I would argue. But I don't know what happened in the second half. Inter were not pushing to take the top of the table from Napoli. No, it was Juventus that completely outplayed Inter for the entire half. I couldn't believe my own eyes. I mean, I was watching and thinking, Juventus is doing really well here. Juventus is absolutely outplaying Inter, especially Colin, who has to be one of the signings of the winter window so far because he is red hot on fire. Still, Inter could have potentially taken the lead when Thuram goes past the Juve defender, is fouled, and I think it was a shot by Dumfries that Di Gregorio wonderfully saves onto the post. However, the foul was given, so it would not have counted. This was the only shot on goal for Inter, and it didn't count. And then the breakthrough came with an absolute piece of trickery by Colomboigny, who makes a roulette through the Inter defenders, places it over to Francisco Conceição, and it's 1-0 Juventus in the 74th minute. And Koopmeiners should have doubled that one, but it was cleared off the line by Denzel Dumfries. Huge win for Juventus, I gotta say. I was hoping for a draw, the top four race, that Milan have a chance in a way. But this was impressive by Juventus. And to me, I really feel that Juventus, the way they're going, whether they're convincing or non-convincing, they're getting the points, and that means they will finish in top four. Friday evening, the Serie A weekend started out with a highly entertaining 3-2 win by Bologna over Torino that actually I was hoping ends up in a draw. However, Bologna did get the win, and probably in the end they did deserve that one as well. However, Torino was well in the game. Pobega assists Ndoye to open the scoring in the 20th minute. However, 17 minutes later, Vlasic with a really nice shot gets the equalizer and goes 1-1 into the half, where then Elif Elmas, after Shea Adams' assist, gives the lead to Torino, but then they give away a penalty. Ndoye scores his second one for the equalizer, and then late on it's a Biraghi own goal, rather unlucky one, that one, to give Bologna the 3 points. Bologna still very much in the chase for at least Europe, potentially Champions League again. The Champions League return against Club Brugge was looming large as Atalanta saved a few players for that one and faced Cagliari with a 1B squad, if you would like. They still created plenty of chances, but they seem a little bit rattled from that experience, and it ends in a 0-0 draw. Yes, Atalanta had more chances, but Cagliari also sound and get crucial points in their quest for survival. Just a week ago, I was impressed how Fiorentina actually outplayed Inter, and now they face Como at home and lose fully deservedly 2-0. Yeah, opening flurry for Fiorentina, but then it was all Como who outplayed Fiorentina for the entire match. Took the lead through a beautiful Diao run through the Fiorentina half past the defender into the net for the first minute. It's the lead for Como, and then in the second half, Nico Pass with a great shot. I mean, he's more or less with his back to goal, twists and gets it via the inside of the post, high into the net. Really beautiful stuff that Como played. Como, watch out for them. They may not be involved in European trouble, but I also think they're getting safely out of relegation, and they might be a determining factor of who will win the championship, who will go into Champions League, and so on. That's what Como's role will be. I think we can officially say now that any hopes of Monza surviving were dashed when they play only a 0-0 draw at home to Lecce in a really boring game, where Lecce even had more chances. Monza in their third season, destined to go down. I saw a little bit of Udinese's match against Empoli, and well, I thought the game was relatively even early on. It's Ekkelenkamp who makes the difference. He opens the scoring in the 90th minute, and in the 65th he doubles it up because Empoli cannot convert the chances, and they're dangerously falling now towards the relegation zone as well, where Léon Thauvin adds a third. Udine very safe mid-table. Matthias Soulé is the hero of Roma's 1-0 win at Parma. He first gets Leone sent off. Yes, it was initially given as a penalty foul and a yellow card for Leone, but then the foul is outside of the box and it is converted into a red card and a free kick. He himself takes this free kick and beautifully curls it into the net via the inside of the post. What a beauty. You don't see this very often. Reminded me a bit of Del Piero, although it was on the other side of the box as well. Roma probably should have doubled the lead. It was a great chance for Shomarov. The Suzuki just scrapes off the line. An absolute miracle save there. Only few chances for Parma. As I said repeatedly, Parma are very nice to watch, but they're way too open and it's very hard to see them surviving this season. And Venezia also played very pleasingly, had actually the better chances in the first half against Genoa, especially Caviglia Nicolussi is really someone to watch. However, it's two late goals, both assisted by Ekuban, scored by Pinamonti and by Cornet, to give Genoa the 2-0 home win. If we look now on the top of the table, Napoli actually extended their lead to 2 points with a very poor performance. But we also have to ask ourselves, what is wrong with Inter? Everyone is saying they have such a deep squad, but I don't think so. They have a rather old squad meanwhile. And maybe that's catching up with them as well. And I think self-admittedly they also said we are more focused on the Champions League because we have not won that one. Serie A, we feel we are better than everybody. So yeah, a little bit of a high nose there as well. I still would say Inter have to be considered the favorites because this Napoli team also doesn't look all that well. If Conte wins this championship, this would be a true masterclass of his, especially after losing Kvaratskhelia and not being adequately replaced. And if injuries hit, then this Napoli squad is really thin. And that in turn might actually invite Atalanta back in. Although for Atalanta, I'm also not quite sure. They're hit and miss. At times you think they're in the title race, and other times, yeah, maybe not so much. But I'm not quite yet counting out Atalanta. I do, however, everyone else. The race for the fourth Champions League spot, and as we already said, it might actually only be 4 teams in the Champions League. That's a really tight one. And you have to favor Juventus almost, although this Lazio team is really, really strong as well. But I want to see them win against the Juventus and potentially against an Inter to actually underline their claim for a Champions League spot. Fiorentina slightly falling away, Milan catching up as well. And if Milan win against Bologna coming soon, maybe they get in there. But Milan have also a relatively tough stretch coming up. I don't quite see it. I really don't see it. I think Milan could do more damage in the Champions League. However, this might already be over a few hours after this video, as Milan are facing Feyenoord. Now turning to relegation, I think Como, Cagliari and Lecce, although they are still kind of hanging in there, have enough points to feel relatively safe. And I especially think that Como we might see rising. I wouldn't be surprised if they overtake Torino. And so it is Monza, Venezia to me that are down. Parma is precariously hanging in there, and I think they only may survive if Empoli really fall down. And with Empoli coach D'Aversa being a former Parma coach, this might actually be interesting as well. Empoli started so well into the season and now they are really falling off, but I think they have more talent than Parma. Although Parma, as I said, are not a bad team to watch. The upcoming round 26 reminds me a little bit of round 24, with many games having one clear favorite. However, they might be stumbling blocks, especially when I look at the opponents of the two title candidates. Inter are facing Genoa at home, a rather sturdy Genoa side under Patrick Vieira, former Inter player as well. And Inter are probably having their eyes set potentially in the Coppa Italia, potentially in Champions League already, and are not looking good as well. This is a must-win for Inter. However, at the same point, Napoli going to Como, that's also not an easy one, especially the way Como have been playing as of late. Then when I look at the race for top 4, Lazio have to go to Venezia. Should be an easy win. Torino, Milan, this is such a trap game for Milan, especially with the games coming afterwards, that I think this will be either a hard-fought 1-0 win or another defeat for Milan. Bologna go to Parma, where I cannot see anything but a Bologna win. However, it's a regional rivalry, so that might play into it. And then Roma facing Monza. I already consider Roma kind of in the chase as well, whereas Juve have to go to Cagliari. Maybe not the easiest game, but also one where I can see them winning, because Juve do not lose and most of the time actually win, and Nicolo Miani really have a great striker. So yeah, let's end this video by wishing all the Serie A teams well for going into Europe. Serie A really needs that one. And yeah, I'm already trembling. Milan playing Feyenoord this evening. I hope that Atalanta can turn it around against Club Brugge, and also Juventus hold on to their lead against PSV. It's absolutely necessary for Serie A. And also Roma should oust Porto. However, this Porto team is one that I would not discount by any stretch of the imagination. However, in Ranieri I trust. And then let's hope that we can avoid a Roman derby in the round of 16. In any case, let me know your thoughts on everything related to Serie A in the past week. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. I'll talk to you soon about more things in my Serie A universe. Bye! Hey there! I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, here are some videos and playlists that you may enjoy too. Also, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the little bell icon so you get notified whenever something happens in my soccer universe. And with that, have a wonderful day. Bye!